Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a topic that resonates with many people but often goes unnoticed or misunderstood: introversion and the unique struggles that come with it. If you've ever felt drained after a social event or prefer deep conversations over small talk, this one's for you. So, grab a seat, and let's unpack what it means to be an introvert and why it's more than just being quiet or shy. What it means to be an introvert first. Let's clarify what introversion actually means. Introversion and extroversion were first proposed by Carl Jung in the early 20th century, where he described introverts as individuals who are more focused on their internal thoughts and feelings than on external stimulation. It's a trait that around 25–40% of people identify with, according to psychologist Laurie Helgo, who actually points out in her book Introvert Power that introverts often thrive in environments with minimal social stimulation. So, being introverted isn't a social deficiency, it's a preference for how energy is best maintained and used. Struggles of introverts in a social world. One of the biggest struggles introverts faces is navigating a world that often values extroverted traits, things like quick responses, the ability to network confidently, and social adaptability. From school presentations to job interviews, the world can sometimes seem tailored to extroverts. For instance, a study by Harvard psychologist Jerome Kagan on reactivity found that highly reactive individuals, who tend to be introverts, can become more easily overwhelmed by external stimuli than low-reactive, often more extroverted, individuals. This reactivity can make tasks like networking events or public speaking feel almost like sensory overload for some introverts. Practical examples of everyday challenges. To give you some real-world examples, imagine a team-building activity at work. While extroverts may thrive, sharing ideas and engaging in group tasks, introverts may feel drained after just a few hours. Social fatigue is real. According to psychologist Hans Eysenck, introverts' brains may have higher baseline activity levels, which means that high-stimulation environments can be quickly overwhelming. So, after a full day of interacting, introverts might need quiet time to recharge. Another common example is attending large parties or family gatherings. For introverts, such events can lead to what we call introvert hangover, which is a kind of emotional and mental exhaustion after prolonged social interaction. This isn't because they dislike people, rather, it's a simple case of needing to refuel their energy, which is best done alone or with close friends. Misunderstandings and stereotypes. One struggle that hits particularly hard for introverts is the common misunderstanding that introversion is synonymous with shyness or social anxiety. While they can overlap, they're not the same thing. Shyness is often rooted in a fear of social judgment, whereas introversion is more about a preference for solitude or smaller groups. Psychologist Sophia Dembeling, in her book The Introvert's Way, explains this beautifully, saying that introverts simply prefer quality over quantity when it comes to social connections. This preference is sometimes mistaken as being aloof or even antisocial, which can lead to further misunderstanding. Workplace challenges for introverts. Let's talk about how these struggles play out in the workplace. Many jobs require frequent meetings, group projects, and open-plan offices, which can be challenging environments for introverts. Studies, like the one conducted by the Myers-Briggs Company, show that introverts are more likely to feel overstimulated and distracted in open office spaces. They tend to be more productive in quiet environments where they can focus deeply. Introverts are often very reflective, which is great for problem-solving and innovation. However, in group brainstorming sessions, they might feel overlooked or unable to contribute fully, especially when extroverts dominate the conversation. This isn't to say introverts don't have great ideas, quite the opposite. It's just that they need more time to think things through before sharing. Academic pressures on introverts. Introverts also face challenges in academic settings. Many schools encourage students to speak up in class, engage in group projects, and present regularly, tasks that can be draining for introverts. A study from the University of Oregon found that introverts often struggle with this expectation, leading to performance anxiety or simply a feeling of being misunderstood by teachers who might mistake quietness for a lack of engagement. To balance this, some educators are beginning to incorporate solo projects and reflective assignments that allow introverts to shine in ways that work for them. This change in approach not only benefits introverts but brings a broader range of insights to classroom discussions. Social life and building connections. When it comes to building friendships and romantic relationships, introverts tend to face unique challenges. They may struggle with small talk, preferring deeper, more meaningful conversations, which can make initial social encounters feel awkward. In her research, Helgo points out that introverts often have fewer, closer friends, while extroverts tend to have wider, more casual networks. This quality over quantity approach can sometimes be misinterpreted as being overly selective or hard to get to know. But the truth is, introverts are incredibly loyal and dedicated friends and partners. Once they build a connection, it's often deep and lasting. However, the process of getting to that level can be hard because they may hesitate to initiate social interactions. Practical tips to thrive as an introvert. So, let's wrap up with a few practical tips that introverts can use to make life a little easier. Now that we've explored these struggles, let's wrap up with a few practical tips that introverts can use to make life a little easier. 1. Embrace your need for alone time. Remember, needing time alone isn't a weakness. It's part of what helps you recharge. Schedule in that alone time as a way to reset, especially after social events. 2. Choose deep, meaningful connections. Introverts often prefer a few close friends over a big social circle. Focus on these deeper connections rather than forcing yourself to maintain too many relationships. 3. Practice self-compassion. It's easy to feel frustrated if you don't meet society's extroverted standards, but it's important to remember that everyone's strengths are different. Dr. Kristen Neff, a researcher on self-compassion, suggests being gentle with yourself. Acknowledge your introverted strengths, like empathy and deep thinking. 4. Utilize your listening skills. Introverts are often great listeners. Embrace this as a strength rather than seeing it as a reason for staying silent in group settings. Listening is a powerful tool in building strong relationships. 5. Find low-stress social situations. Not all socializing has to be high energy. Seek out environments where you feel comfortable, like small gatherings, quiet coffee meetups, or even online communities. Self-acceptance and celebrating introversion. Finally, it's important for introverts to practice self-acceptance. Being introverted is not a flaw or something to fix. Society may seem to reward extroversion, but introverts bring unique strengths like deep thinking, empathy, and the ability to work independently. As Susan Cain highlights in her book Quiet, The Power of Introverts in a World That Can't Stop Talking, the world benefits from the gifts of introverts, even if they're sometimes overlooked. So, if you're an introvert, know that your perspective is valuable. Find ways to manage energy, create boundaries, and embrace the fact that while you may approach the world differently, your way of being is just as valid and essential. Conclusion. Thanks for sticking with me through this deep dive into the struggles and strengths of introverts. I hope you found some of these insights relatable, or maybe they even helped you understand yourself a little better. Remember, if you're an introvert, you're in good company. Many amazing thinkers, creators, and leaders throughout history have been introverts, and they made their mark by embracing who they truly were. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for more content on psychology, mental health, and self-improvement. Share your thoughts in the comments. Are you an introvert? What's been your biggest struggle or your best tip for managing it? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.